Whew. That was a spicy session yesterday. Spicy. 3 sets of 16 minutes at FTP. It's the following day. Because I was going to do a bit of a debrief of the session, but I just didn't get the time. So I'm jumping on now. But you know what? Even, I train to a high standard, and still just knowing that the rest of the team is going to be there on the start line 6 o'clock on a Wednesday just makes me accountable. I'd like to think of myself as quite accountable to my programming, but that still does just turn the screw, because there's some mornings I just do not feel like it, but I don't want to let the team down. And when I show up and everybody else is in the room and everybody sometimes feels the same, we push through, get the hour done, sometimes an hour and 15, and the session is in the bag. And that was definitely one of those sessions today. So, yesterday. I just wanted to jump on here. I like to do a private and a public podcast. A private podcast, more sort of educational for my team. So as a coach, it's important for me to offer tools, frameworks, different ways of thinking for the problems that I come across, and also to offer a bridge towards a solution. Sometimes it's not about saying or telling what to do. In fact, if anything, it's not about that at all. It's more primarily about planting seeds and raising some awareness. And that's going to be my goal and mission for the next few minutes in this. And I have made a handful of notes in this one today, but this is more engineered around what I commonly see when it comes to self-doubt, when it comes to people who are like really still struggling with that element of still doubting myself, even though there's accolades to suggest the opposite. So when I think about it, I've spoken to clients about this. They look at this program, and this is me, being a bit more authentic and real and raw. It's in the morning time. I'm still just wearing comfy clothes and stuff. But I just want to sort of bring to the table the fact that, social media is really good at showing the high bits, and you can have a perception in your mind that you aren't quite an athlete or aren't quite a high performer. I use that a lot, like high performer. That's all completely relative to you and your situation. So I have clients in here who are very stressed, got kids, got responsibilities, they're running around all the time. That is a high performer. That might be yourself. A high performer isn't someone who's like really high up in a corporate job, like really top 1%ers and all those sorts of things. Yes, I work with clients like that, but the bottom line is we all, me included, and the rest of the team, and you guys out there, are all going to have these universal things go through your mind of like fear, self-doubt, limiting beliefs. And it's my job to sort of extract and really give a different perspective on what's going on. If you really think of a responsibility of a coach, I'm looking at the picture from outside the frame. So I become a trusted advisor. So hopefully I'm going to be a trusted advisor to you in this space right now. So what I typically see when it comes to an element of self-doubt within individuals, number one, there's a performance gap, or performance gap and gain. Now, what I mean by that is we all have goals and objectives and things we want to do and where we want to go and all those sorts of things. And that needs to be in the crosshairs in the distance, right? It needs to be something you're working towards. But a gap level thinking is always comparing to the ideal scenario, always comparing to like what it could really look like. And the problem that you got with that is you're always comparing yourself to a moving target, because what happens when you achieve the next thing and it's like, oh yeah, but it's not quite good enough. I need to make sure that I do this, 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 this. And that continually happens over a process of time, and it just feels like you're on a hedonic treadmill. So we're not saying to completely dismiss that. You need that driver, but you also need to keep yourself somewhere which is in the gain. Gain level thinking is actually measuring your progress in the opposite direction, measuring how far you've come on this journey in relative to where you started the journey. Now, you might start yesterday, or you might start 5 years ago. Look how far you've come on that process of change and that evolution. And if it feels difficult and quite challenging and all those things right now, sometimes that is actually the price you pay for growth. It just means that this level of discomfort that you're in, it just get a bit on top of you right now. Rather than sort of knee-jerk, pull the cable, ejector seat, sometimes it's actually, I'm just in the middle of a storm right now. This is just a challenge. Rather than seeing it as a problem, see it as a challenge, like a Rubik's Cube. This is the feeling and the price that I paid, knowing full well that it just means that I'm going to grow. It just means that I'm going to evolve. It just means that I'm going to level up. If you look back at the times where you've had the most challenging times, they're usually the biggest lessons that you've learned and the biggest things you've needed to go through in order to shift. So number one is the gap and the gain, like the performance gap. Number two is your behavior changes faster than your identity. Why is it that you can apply yourself for 3, 6, 9 months, sometimes years, and you've got the accolades and you've achieved so many great things, but in the back of your mind, you still got that element of like self-doubt. It might just all fall apart. What about if people, really know how I feel, or really see that I'm actually not as good as I say or portray I am, or like all these sorts of narratives that we put in our mind. And reality is, you were raised and rewarded for humility, not self-certainty. So that means in your environment, you were taught that confidence comes after the achievement. So you pursue a goal, you achieve, you get a reward, you get validated, only then can you be confident. It's almost like, well, I'm never going to feel confident because I've got to get the thing first before I can be confident. Well, if you made the decision to yourself and you're committed and you're going to give it a go and give it a shot, that is like, right, well, I'm just going to give it my best, like my best, not comparing to anything or anyone else. The typical tripwire that comes with that is you say to yourself that story, you say to yourself, yeah, you know what, I've got this, I'm going to do this year, I'm going to do this event, I'm going to build this business, I'm going to do whatever the goal is. And your central nervous system, your subconscious, will go into overdrive and it will put the handbrake on it. It'll go, whoa, where do you think you're going? Why are you talking like that? You haven't earned it yet. You haven't proved it yet. Look at all these other people doing it. And just that simple thought process usually is enough to throw you off and keep you stuck and keep you feeling and thinking that you haven't quite got it enough. Yeah, but I'm not quite there yet, or whatever it is. So it's very similar to that sort of gap and gain thinking. But this is a deeper level. This is actually your subconscious, your central nervous system. It's on fight or flight based on the fact that you were raised and rewarded for humility, not self-certainty. So understand that that's the case, and understand that it might just feel uncomfortable to start with. But this is where point number 3 now comes in. What we need to now build is your evidence log. And the biggest thing that we always underestimate is a win. Like, there is no difference in size between wins in your mind. A win is a win, end of, period. So when you're building evidence, the number one thing I say to clients is like, right, at the end of the day, I want you to find 10 wins, 10. If you, on days when you've had a great day and you feel amazing, like that's easy, reel it off. The biggest challenge, which will make the difference, is when you've had a challenging day, then go and find 10 wins. Because you will quickly see that actually you've navigated that day, or you've really persevered with resilience on a certain day and still been able to win. So wins at the end of a challenging day might be things like, I've put my clothes away, I've washed up the dishes, I went for a quick walk around the block. I did, like, really, like, in terms of scale, they're not big in your mind. But if you can build 10 wins, which they are wins, in the most challenging environment, the challengingest day, the most challenging day, then that's building that evidence and that protocol for you. Like, yes, you are going to achieve this. You are going to do this. If you just continue and persevere with your mind in that way and keep just making those incremental steps and making sure that you're working with your brain, not against it. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is learn how to talk, not listen. So when you talk, you can actually maybe get pen and paper and just go through what's going on in your mind based on how you feel, the environment, the goal at the minute, what's going well, what isn't going well. You can sort of scribe and just think, right, I'm going to talk to my mind in this environment, pen and paper. Whereas if you just listen, you're just listening to thoughts that come up. Now, on a day when you're highly motivated and you feel good, that's fine. But the rest of the time, which is probably the majority of the time, you're going to be stressed, overwhelmed, you've got things to do. So listening to your mind is usually going to reinforce the habits which are keeping you stuck, like eating on the go, eating convenience foods, skipping training sessions, skipping looking after your health, skipping doing the non-negotiables, therefore leaking your boundaries and therefore starting to affect your energy, starting to affect your bandwidth. And when your energy is low, your emotion is high. So talk versus listen. So if you found that useful, I would really, really love to hear from you in the comment section. And also, I would love it if you could like this video for me, share it with someone who needs to hear this. I'm on a mission to help people like yourself get to where you want to be across the board, personally, physically, and professionally, and help you navigate there. So if you found this useful, please like, please share, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.